Hi, I'm Sarah Beth with the Tarleton Student Chapter of the Wildlife Society. In the past couple weeks, we've been putting out questions wanting to know what you guys want to know. And so this video is going to address several of those questions.
In GIS and wildlife, there are many applications just for wildlife in GIS, such as looking at hotspots and habitat where the wildlife are located, as well as species interactions, home range, and many more. One example with GIS for wildlife can be looking at roadkill analysis with different types of roadways as well as urbanization. You can also look at urbanization interactions or human interactions with the wildlife itself, such as urban coyotes in Austin.
Fieldwork can have a variety of different locations. For me, I have to travel for my fieldwork simply because I can't do it here on the Tarleton campus. But depending on what your project is or where you work someday, they'll help you decide on how you should do your fieldwork and if you'll be commuting or if it'll be where you are.
For your networking skills, you can easily build these up by going to our yearly conferences. We have a state conference and a national conference that make it really easy for you to get in touch with professionals in the areas that you're interested in. If you're not able to go to conferences, you have every opportunity to go and speak with any of your professors or advisors, or even network with some of your students who are going to end up being your future peers and career coworkers. You can also sign up for our society or join any of our committees because all of them offer really good opportunities for you to meet people and make new connections. As far as your resume, it's really easy to build up experience. Try to get as much hands-on experience as you can, work with as many people as you can, getting involved in as many things as you can so that you can put on it. If you're wanting someone to look at it, your advisor is going to be the perfect person to do that. And if you don't want them to look at it, your peers are trying to build up their resume too, have them look at it and y'all can share it. It's really easy.
So biologists in zoos can do a number of things. A lot of biologists will go out and do field work and research on animals that are endangered species and figure out how they can better maintain that species in the wild, and then bring that information to a zoo who can then better a habitat, better enrichment ideas, and also come up with ways to better handle that animal, as well as maybe better diets from the research that a biologist does. Now, specific biologists like zoo biologists or wildlife biologists can work directly in a zoo, and they will do things like change the enrichments and do research on those animals in a controlled state so that they can get different data than they would in the wild.
There are several ways to better your plant identification skills. The number one trait that I like to use is to identify a key characteristic. So for almost every plant species out there, there's going to be one pretty distinct identifying factor. And if you can start getting the hang of how to identify those, that'll help you a lot. It's also really good to know things like evergreen versus deciduous. For example, I'm sitting under a live oak tree right now, which is an evergreen tree. We're currently in our winter season, so this tree is still green while everything else is pretty much dead or leaves are falling off. Another useful tool for identifying plants is knowing what season they grow in. So there's typically cool season and warm season plants. If you're in the warm season, you'll typically see plants that are growing during the summer and spring, and you can tell that it's not going to be a cool season grass, and vice versa for the cool season. It's also good to know which plants are perennial and annual. So if you're looking at a plant and you can see that it has new growth as well as old growth, that's going to mean it's a perennial. It dies off a little, but it comes back the next year. An annual plant is a plant that will not come back the next year, so you'll only see new growth or old growth. The last really useful thing you can do is go ahead and pick up a field guide. Ricky Lennox has a really good book. It's Plants of North Central Texas, and iNaturalist is also a really good app. You should check out our previous YouTube video describing what iNaturalist does.
We hope this helps. Keep sending us your questions.
Wildlife is solid rocks.